Welcome viewers to The Colonel Speaks. In my last video, we had seen how the new world order is shaping up, with China being one of the poles in a bipolar world. With great power comes great responsibility, and today the question the world is asking is that while China has the power, but does it have the sense of responsibility which is expected of it? Please like, subscribe and share this video as it really motivates us to keep going. The world is under extreme turmoil as mankind fights to survive against the coronavirus pandemic, resulting in unprecedented economic loss, robbing the world of $5.5 trillion of growth, an unfathomable economic recession, global employment causing over 1 billion workers at high risk of losing their jobs, and now it has also to cope with the Chinese belligerence. But why has China chosen to do what it is doing right now? Before we dwell on what and why of Chinese action, let's remind ourselves that there is nothing accidental or coincidental in whatever the Chinese do. They are cohesive in their thoughts and deliberate in their actions. While their efficient propaganda machinery may dish out these actions to the world as reactive, but they are highly proactive. Deng Xiaoping in 1999 gave a slogan to the Chinese population: hide your capabilities and bide your time. During that period, China decided not to contest with the US and the erstwhile Soviet Union, but to calmly observe the international situation and work on stabilizing the domestic economy and wait for the time when it could be strong enough to challenge the powers B, both in economic and military might. After about 3 decades, and then on the eve of the first centenary anniversary of the Chinese Communist Party, which happens to be 2021, the Chinese believe that the time has come to claim the supremacy at the world stage. The year 2021 is critical for the Chinese Communist Party and the Xi Jinping government to unveil the new Middle Kingdom, and the Chinese virus or the coronavirus pandemic gave them the perfect opening to do so. While the mighty US and the Western powers are gasping for breath, China rolled out its economic belligerence against the world economy and military belligerence against its neighbors in the South China Sea and in the Sino-Indian borders. It started with the Chinese Air Force violating Taiwanese airspace in the late March this year, followed by Chinese Navy carrying out a major exercise in the disputed South China Sea in April. Since the first week of May, the People's Liberation Army has amassed its troops in the Ladakh region on the Sino-Indian border, threatening the territorial integrity of India. But why did it do so? China says it feels disturbed by India building roads inside its own sovereign territory. But unlike previous such occasions, this time Beijing has moved heavy war-waging equipment near the disputed areas, clearly trying to bully New Delhi into submission. But for what? Well, the Xi Jinping government found itself cornered after the Chinese coronavirus conspiracy was unveiled. While its handling of the pandemic at home and the brutal suppression of facts didn't really win it accolades from its own citizens, and coupled with the satanic way it chose to kill humanity, brought it international ignominy. The year 2020, which would have seen Xi Jinping and the Chinese Communist Party basking in glory, has brought global humiliation. All the diplomatic efforts and billions of dollars that China had invested to earn goodwill, which ranged from the Latin Americas, Eastern Europe, African bloc and the Middle East, has turned into a feeling of betrayal and hatred that the world now feels towards China. In short, the Chinese Communist Party has failed. China has sensed a global drive is underway to thwart its economic and military hegemony, which not only threatens its economy, but its aspirations of Chinese reunification and its rise as a superpower. Things couldn't have been worse for Xi Jinping, as he also faces discontent and criticism within the Chinese Communist Party, as has been reported by some prominent news agencies. Let's analyze Xi Jinping's challenges. The ongoing trade and diplomatic war with the US. Almost 120 countries have sponsored a draft resolution at the 73rd meeting of the World Health Organization to set up an inquiry as to the origins of the coronavirus. It got further complicated for China, with India getting nominated to preside over the executive board of the World Health Assembly, which would surely upset the Chinese and WHO apple cart. A probable inclusion of Taiwan in the WHO as an observer and a gradual inclusion in other international forums sponsored by the US by way of the Taipei Act 2019. Shifting of businesses by the major economic powers such as US, Japan and South Korea out of China to India, Vietnam, Thailand, etc. US invitation to India and Russia to join the G7 and purposefully excluding China out of it. UK proposing an alliance of 10 countries including India called the D10 or the Democracies 10 to curb telecom reliance on China in general and Huawei in particular. Diplomatic standoff with Australia due to its asking for an independent inquiry on the origins of the coronavirus pandemic and the resultant Chinese ban on Australian agro-products. Chinese fear that India stands to gain much at their expense. An economically strong India will have a stronger military, which will always be a challenge to Chinese dominance in the region. Growing strategic partnership between the US and India, both at the diplomatic and the military realms. All of this, coupled with the probability of an internal revolt, probably led Xi Jinping to sanction Chinese army incursions into the disputed territories with India. What could be the probable gains from this depravity? At a time when India is fighting with the coronavirus pandemic, it would allow the Chinese to occupy strategic locations on the Sino-Indian border. Similar to 1962 war, humiliate India at the international level by challenging it militarily. Test the US-India strategic alliance with its belief that Russia would take its side if US steps in and indirectly discredit the US, thus having strategic implications for its plans on reuniting Taiwan at a later date. Weaken the Indian economy, which is already suffering recession due to the pandemic, by having a prolonged standoff. Establish an aggressive military posture which would serve as a warning to other countries in the South China Sea and in the East China Sea with whom it has territorial disputes. And finally, to compensate and consolidate for the face loss that the Chinese Communist Party has suffered and rake up nationalistic feelings within its own populace. China decided to rescind its 1997 pledge to UK giving Hong Kong diplomatic and commercial autonomy and ushered in the national security law, ending the political autonomy that Hong Kong enjoyed under the One China, Two Systems policy. If an unbiased and pragmatic analysis of Chinese behavior is carried out, it becomes clear that disputes with China and other nations, whether on economic or territorial reasons, are very peculiar. All of these disputes are on one hand between democracies guided by national policies and the personalities of their respective leaders, which keeps on changing as per the political landscapes, and on the other hand China, which is hostage to the ideologies of the Chinese Communist Party that will never change even with change of leadership. Every time a territorial dispute with China is thwarted with diplomatic initiatives, it leaves the door open for another dispute which lurks around the corner. While the politics is complex, the mathematics is really simple. Chinese military aggression is a function of the economy, which is too large to be contested by any nation single-handedly in the present global order. It would be prudent to assume that Chinese believe that the economy is large enough to withstand prolonged military standoffs and limited operations against countries which have comparatively weaker economies, as it would be a matter of who blinks first. It also becomes easier for China to take on such nations sequentially rather than simultaneously, as a multi-front military economic standoff would bleed the Chinese economy faster than its adversaries, howsoever small their economies are. Therefore, with this logic, it makes sense to take the bigger nations first and subsequently go after the smaller ones. Rescinding Hong Kong's status by China also points to the fact that Chinese consider all treaties, pacts, and deals are unilaterally revocable when it suits them. The recently articulated United States strategic approach to People's Republic of China is an interesting read, which lists out the challenges posed by the PRC to the world in general and the US in particular. It chalks out broadly the US strategy to counter and contain Chinese hegemony, both in the economic and in the military domain. In response to China imposing the national security law in Hong Kong, US activated the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act 2019 that requires imposing sanctions against Chinese and Hong Kong officials considered responsible for the human rights abuses in Hong Kong and involved directly or indirectly in eroding Hong Kong's autonomy. In response to Chinese espionage attempts, the US has decided to expel Chinese students with ties to Chinese military schools. To prevent PRC-sponsored Chinese investments in the US, the Senate has passed a bill to delist Chinese companies from the US stock exchanges, which are directly or indirectly controlled by the Chinese government, which most of the major Chinese companies are. And if the bill is made into law, then most of the Chinese companies stand to get delisted from US stock exchanges. US has banned Huawei to implement 5G technology in the US, which is in response to the national intelligence law introduced by China in 2017. This law stated that any organization and citizen shall support cooperate in national intelligence work, which basically means that all Chinese citizens and businesses are under national obligation to gather intelligence for the Chinese government. As on date, apart from the US, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and Taiwan have banned Huawei, and UK has banned the company from contributing core parts to its 5G technology. Considering the Chinese aggressive economic attacks on offshore investments during the pandemic, major economic powers have brought into force policies to block the Chinese. The European Union Commission has issued guidelines to member states for FDI screening with the objective of protecting key EU assets. The German government has launched a legislative process to amend the German Foreign Trade and Payment Act. The Australian government has announced that the dollar threshold for screening will be $0 and has increased the timeline for processing FDI proposals to 6 months. The Spanish government has enacted a royal decree amending a 2003 act, which makes it mandatory to obtain prior government approval on any FDI proposal. The Italian government expanded what it calls the Golden Power Law, meant to restrict foreign investments in sensitive areas. And India has made prior approval of the government mandatory for foreign investments from countries that share border with India to prevent opportunistic takeover of domestic firms. But the question one needs to ask whether this time China has bitten off more than it can chew, which would probably happen if the world decides to call the Chinese bluff by pulling it simultaneously in other directions too, especially in the economic domain and if required in the military domain too. Of course, but as a last resort. With this, we come to the end of this video. Please like, subscribe and share. Jai Hind.